This is after Yerushalmi Pesachim. The article was one addition when I daf Samach Zayin Amid Aleph. The third line down. Nimnu Pesach, and that in the Vilna is on daf Nun Vav Amid Beis, the ninth line down. Nimnu Pesach. So they had subscribers who subscribed on the Pesach. Oti Echa Kazayis Chayev. Somebody took out a Kazayis of that Korban Pesach, then he's Chayev on Lo Sotzi. But it's only an individual. Shtaim, if it's Shtaim Shlosha, there are two or three who left. Peturin, their potter, Mibnei Shebnei Chaburos, really Moshech Etzlon. Because the Mechabura can go with them. In other words, they have found a new Chabura where everybody else can go, and you know the Pesach is Nechal B'Shtei Chaburos. So an individual left the Chabura, he's a problem. But two people, three people, can't sue the Chabura. So therefore they're potter. And however, they're over on an asay. El Shein Over in Basay says, Chormeida D'chsiv, B'bayis Echad Yachel Shelo Adam Ochel B'Shtei Chaburos. The person should not eat into chaburos. So the say is stay put. Lo say is also tzimina basar chutza, not to remove it from the chabura, but your new chabura. But there's an additional say which says ba'isar chadi achel, and that say is they're over if when they even two or three people move, although they're considered to be could be considered to be a new chabura. Rabbi Shimon I feel about saying over him, and Rabbi Shimon they're not even over I say. Now this is all basically as a prelude to the following brisa. The Tani learned al batim asher yachlu oso bahem, on the houses in which they will eat it in them. Teach us Pesach can be eaten in two different places. You can divide up and make it into two different chabrus. Yochlu af ochlav you ochlin oso b'shnei makomos. Can the people eat it in two different places? That's the say, right? You have to stay in one place. It can be eaten in several places, but the person who's eating has to stay in one place. Okay, it's that house. So Pesach Nechal B'Shtei Makomos basically be two places. Ve'enochulav ochlino so B'Shtei Makomos, but the people eat it can't eat in two different places. Rabbi Shimon Omer Af ochlav ochlin oso B'Shtei Makomos. So Shimon says no, there is no assay. Either people eat it can eat it in two different places. Ma'amakayim Rabbi Shimon b'bayis echad yachel. So what does Rabbi Shimon do? This possible says bayis echad yachel. Shelo techabura miktzos ochels b'fnim miktzos ochels b'chutz. Should have one chabura. Part of them eating inside and part of them eating outside. Now, the next couple lines, which we're going to read, are very difficult, and the commentator just takes them out. Then the Mechamayim says they're pretty difficult to understand. But the Yerushalmi Pesachim wants to say that they're actually kind of out of place, and they're really going back on Rabbi Shimon. We finished Rabbi Shimon's statement the Brisa, but it's like a continuation. Yachid Shotzi, because it contradicts obviously what we said before, according to Rabbanan. Yachid Shotzi Kazayis Chutz Chabura, an individual who took a Kazayis out of Chabura, even an individual, Neshem Bnei Chaburos Ruim Moshe Chetzot, since the Bnei Chabura can join him, Niftam Lotase is Patron Lotase. So if it's a part of staying Rabbi Shimon, so it's going to say that even a Yachid who left the Chabura, he's not over in Los Asay. He might be over in Asay, but there's no Los Asay on the individual living Chabura. But again, the Kodesh Korei would just those lines we just take out. Rabbi Chir Baba asked Lomli Rabbi Shimon. I feel Rabbanim. So if you learn that, like Yerushalmi Pesachim, that last line was going to Rabbi Shimon, it was Rabbi Shimon. So then I was asking here, if there's taka such a svara that the Chabura can join with him. So what difference? Your Rabbi Shimon is correct. The difference doesn't make if it says one or two people. Chabura can always join them. Okay, the two people can't do like a mini Chabura on their own. But so what? Then the other people come join him. And why is there a lot? And then the next line we have to read a little bit different. It's a continuation of that question. Bnei Chabura so, not Chabura son. Bnei Chabura so really Moshe Chetzlo niftero. Right, let's because the Bnei Chabura can join with him, let's partner him. Why not? I'm sorry, Niframi Lotase. And I feel about say like you. They shouldn't even be in say. Because if the host for they come with him, it's amigo. They always say, I thought they was coming with me. Why should with people over anything whatsoever? If we do take out those lines, so the question is, of course, not on an individual. The question is not on multiple people. When two people go away, then Rabbi Baba is asking, Rabbi Shimon, why would he say like Rabbi Shimon? So that your partner say, I feel Rabbanon. Even like Rabbanon, there should be a potter. There should be Mechabura son, because the Mechabura of these two people really Moshech Etzlon, the right we could come by them. Niftero, we should potter. Milosa say, and which is exempt from Losa say, and I feel I say, but there shouldn't be an say. It's interesting the power of the Migo here, right? The Migo that since they could have all moved together, so everyone should be not considered another house. It's like a portable house. They all can move together. We're assuming that they didn't live in a literal house, they're just moving around in the house itself. So therefore, this idea of the Chabura, since this idea of Royally Moshech, so therefore, they have to be exempt from the law as well, from the Pshat I say as well. So the Gemara doesn't answer the question. The Gemara goes on to a new question, regardless of how you learn the question. Okay, so we have the next one. We have a statement says that Shamash, change the next word from Sha'achlan to Sha'achal. Probably the article changes it inside. Yeah. Shamash Sha'achal, without any, doesn't even mention it's a change. Shamash Sha'achal Kazais. He was a Kazais who decided to know why he was roasting the Korban Pesach, and he forgot. He ate Kazais by the tanur, not by the table. He can't go back to the table because it's not the same place. So but basically in two places. So if he's smart, he can fill his stomach there while he's staying there. If they want to give him honor, they can come and eat with them next to the oven. If not, they send this portion into the kitchen. He eats in the places. So Gemara says, Taman in Bavel, Amar, they said Rabbi Shimon. Like Rabbi Shimon holds that Pesach eaten in two places. Not like Rabbanon, because Rabbanon, he made a mistake, but he can't eat anymore because he's eating. He's eating in two places. It's wrong. Reb Chaim, in Reb Chaim, they're doing Ephraim and in the Art Scroll. They changed the gears to Tam and Amar Rabbi Yehuda. That's where Rabbi Yehuda argues Rabbi Shimon, and the Bavli, that a different Masorah, though, who holds what among Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Shimon. We're going to stick with the gears which is in front of us in the Vilna. And I think they even in the Art Scroll, they only change it in their commentary, not in the text itself. So, again, it seems to Rabbi Shimon because the Shamash is by himself. So Gemara says no. V'lo Shmin, they didn't hear the Rabbi Hila in Bavel didn't hear that which Hila and Rabbi Yassi and Rabbi Lev Shem Rabbi Yosha said. Hakam bodim. Everybody agrees, both Rabbi Shimon and Rabbanan. Bitchila Shem Chokin. Now, what's Bitchila? It's not exactly sure. It literally means before they start eating, but it could be it means when only part of them start eating and not all of them start eating. But so if they all start eating. So beginning before they start eating, all rove of them start eating one place. It's not considered chaburus kavua in one place. If they all start eating, or the rove start eating one place, so that's all they're considered to be in one place. So and here it could be that this is about bitchila before they all cover one place. So therefore, it can be going even rabbanon. That it's not a problem to have them separate. The sounds like also like the shamashi was it's a bit of roasting. Everyone else didn't start eating it, so therefore they could still come to him because it's mitchila, only one person or maybe a few people start eating. Not all people yet, not everybody yet. It's not still roasting it, right? It's not finished. So but so also if they already started eating going based up there in the dining room, he ate there, then there's no contact. They couldn't come to him. So that's not a question. So the Shamash is going to leave the Kuliyama. Ma Pligan. What's the machlokas up on Rabbi Shimon? When do they have a machlokas? So I have a case of Yoshim Ba'ichlin. They were sitting and eating, and the ceiling broke. So Rabbi Shimon Omer Oikner as Mechelkan and now who according to many of the Farshim means even people who are still eating, who already started eating, can move their places. Can move their places. Already ate a kazais, move their place and finish somewhere else. But I'm not sure that that's the question here. I think the question is really those who haven't eaten yet. Okay, the ceiling broke. Some are eating, some that haven't eaten. So the question: people haven't eaten, can they go eat somewhere else? So. Okay, it's chalkan because Pesach is nechal b'shtei mekaymos, right? They can eat it. The oichlim, the oichlim can eat into mekaymos. In other words, even though they're part of this chabur over here, but they can move to go somewhere else in the house. So therefore, they can eat somewhere else. Okay, it's chalkan b'ochlim mokamachar. But I mean, ain't oichlim is chalkan mokamachar. No, it's basically in two places. But that ain't oichlim b'shtei mekaymos. But that's. You made two chaburas to begin with, but once you made a chabura, so then the people who didn't eat their Korban Pesach yet, they're stuck. They can't go somewhere else and eat it. So people ate, people didn't eat. They can't eat. So that's the machlikas, where something occurred in the middle, and some people hadn't yet eaten, and they can't finish eating here. So according to Rabbi Shimon, they can go somewhere else and eat, because even though they made a chakvidas here, they made a chabura because the Pesach, I mean, ochlam b'shtei mekaymos. According to Rabbanan, no, since they had a kfiyas here, even though they could have had originally several different places to eat, but that's too late since majority started here. The minority can't go somewhere else and finish the meal. Okay, so the stress so far has been on ochlin, right? Can the ochlin eat in two places? Not in two places, but the stress is on achila. And we didn't mention anything about moving, the physical moving of the basa, right? So, Rechir bar said, Rabbi Yossi ben Chanina, he said, Yossi asked a question, right? Shouldn't be chayav until you eat in a new place. After Shul Rabbi B'Shem B'Yochel said, Taka, hamoitzi eno chayav, ad she'ochel. No, for just moving it, you're not chayav. You're only chayav if you ate in a new place. So now the Gemara brings down the people who argue on this. Rabbi Zira said, "V'tani tamon." We learned over there in a brisa. Yochid shehotzi kazayis. Maybe it means when I was still in Bavel, I learned the following brisa. Yochid shehotzi kazayis. Individual took kazayis chutz l'chabura, so outside his chabura, he's chayiv. V'lo pasat him neighbor chabura, but he didn't pass himself from being a member of the chabura. So hadamara, afilu loachal. Once you talk about we didn't eat it, right? In Tamar Ochal, if you tell you about it, to say Hotzi means they actually ate it. So why not pass himself on the Chabura? Right? It sounds like over there that that he didn't pass himself on the Chabura and go back and eat it where he came from. Right? But he's still chayav. So if you already ate it, there's no such concept of Chabura so that he can go back and eat it even though it's over the lav. There's nothing to take back. You already ate it. So it must be a chayim notzah by itself. So the Gemara says that's not a raya. The Rabbi Yosef came and showed tzio pasolo. Once he took it out, he paused it. I feel ochal, and even if he eats it, davar pasol ochal. He eats something pasol. The Korban Eid explains it. Amar Rabbi Yosef olam dafka ochal. There's only chayim only when he eats it. Kasha lama pasol that's only nechabura. So if that's the case, obviously, why didn't he pass himself in nechabura? Shani halchir is different. Came and showed tzio basa in a bais. Kvanifsa basa b'tzioso. Once he took the house out of the house, the bus out of the house, he used bus's puzzle. Uchal davar puzzle achal. When he ate, he's eating davar puzzle. And he's not like he's eating the pesach in two different chaburos. So of course, when he ate outside the chabura, he was over on, right? But he can still go back to the original chabura. Because it's not considered for him eating to Mekoimis, because what he ate outside the Chabura was puzzle. So wasn't he eating a Korban Pesach? He ate a double puzzle. So therefore, that's what wasn't placed in Chabura. So what he ate outside the Chabura, he was over. But since it's a double puzzle, since it's a Pesach puzzle, because he was over on Lototzi Basar Chutzah, so he can go back and eat the Korban Pesach now with the original Chabura. So enachami, it's not the Torah itself doesn't pass, but when he we're telling us that when he eats from it, even though it's chayav on the achila, he can still go back and eat another kazayis biyose. It's a Korban Pesach just because he committed that avera of lotosi doesn't mean he shouldn't go back and try biyose in the mitzvah. But vital amrada. But what does tell us? that you are over on lo totzi, even if you just motzi and not oichel. The following statement says, Yesh shover, I guess also Brisa, Yesh shover achar shover ein motzi achar motzi. There's if you break a bone, then you break it again, you're over 2 lavin. But there's no motzi achar motzi, right? If you take it out, then once, you can't be over again a second time. So if you're only over when you eat it, so of course you can't be over a second time. You're only over when you eat it. Of course, it's not there anymore. It must be that the hotzah itself is the chiyuv, and therefore if you motzi, and then you took it back again, and motzi again, I might say you're chayiv. If it's telling us, no, for second lav, not chayiv second lav, because like obviously this is what we just said, because it's already puzzle, and therefore there's no way to be over it a second time. But clearly it says you're chayiv on the hotzah itself, not on the achila. And the next word o is either you take it out like Karmeda, or it's like the Mashbiach very often says that o in the Yerushalmi can mean the vava is really is the same thing as a vava chibur. So hadamara, this teaches us that kemachos puzzle, and that once you take it out, it's at that point it's puzzle. Now that makes the next line difficult, because next line seems contradicted. It says o hadamara motzinu chayv shiyochal. What do you mean? We just proved differently. So the learns it as a question. He says, "Parich yadamra o damra ena chayv shel bicha emotzach emotzi." No, he's saying maybe say Adarab. Say Taka. Says no motzei chamotzi because of a practical reason that you already ate it. There's other alternatives here, and Mashbiach l'shitas learns that this is also vava chibur, and he's saying this is going on back on Rabbi Hila, not on the immediately preceding statement. Where we talk about the broken beam, so there that they're clearly focused on Achila, and. So they're going back at that statement. Okay, but it's a difficult line. So it's either a question, maybe because the reason is because you can't eat it a second time, or it's going back to Rabbi Hila, and we go further. Shita Milsa. So the Gemara says this is the following case is obvious. I learned like Korban Eidah. Pnei Moshe is different shot. Pnei Moshe is a very different shot than we hear, and a lot of stuff we learned. But we're going to go to Korban Eidah. So the Yischilu Elu V'nitmu Elu. So it says the Korban Eidah. He said Torim Lechol. So the Torim started eating. V'nitmu Ksas Mechabur. It's kind of like I explained before about a rove and a mute. So here's the same principle. So the Torah started eating, and some of them became Tomei. Before they started eating. So this is why. So before the broken bean, there are many different pshatim. My pshat is linked here because here you see this idea of rov and mixas, and we juggle between the two. So again, it says the term is the chelek shel hatmeim. I should read that again. So the term you can't eat. So the term can chaparine. They can have some more roast. V'lo, not only that, even the people started and they became tamei. The Torah remain are zogen the chelik of tmeim, says Korban Eidah. Some of them can start eating. They became tamei. There are other people in Torah who haven't yet started eating. The people in Torah are the people who became Tameim, who already started eating. But those are Pashut. But this is the Chiddush. The Chiddush is Abischilu Elu. They all started eating. And V'nidim Echamem, when they became Tamei, Lo Zoratorim B'chalkon Shel Tmeim. So then they can't acquire his portion, and the Korban Eidah says even a mixas. Abiskil kulam leachol nidmu mikzason, right? Lo zochator mechalkon shel tmeim. They can't take the chelik of the tmeim. That doesn't work. So just going off a bit of a tangent. This Yerushalmi is a chiddush. It's a very big chiddush. The Rambam Paskin, so it's basically Yerushalmi. It doesn't seem to appear in the Bavli. The Rambam Perek Halacha Gimel says this brings down this halacha, almost verbatim from the Yerushalmi here, and then he brings down, evidently according to Makoros of Tzionim here in the Franco, it's a Tosefta, Vudin and Mesim Ktsasan. That if some of them have died, so then also the same principles apply as if some of them became Tamei, all these parameters here. And the Chazdei David, I looked in the Maftech in the back, says that's only what's on a person's plate. If each person's plate, if they're eating the whole animal, even they designated parts, I guess, this is going to be mine, that's going to be yours. It does become possible, and the Torim can be zoich on the part of the people who became Tamei. But evidently, once a person acquired, since there's this din kinyan, by Korban Pesach, I guess there's a lot of lumdus to be said here, but since there's this din kinyan by Korban Pesach, the whole concept of muyim indicates kinyan, so once you acquired your specific part, so then you can't became Tamei, and you became Tamei, you can't be transferred to somebody else. The transfer can only take place before you were zoich in it, and then became Tamei afterwards, after you were zoich in it. Okay, when Korban says kulam lechol, right? It means you start eating, but start eating from what's on your plate, not just because you grab the piece off the roast lamb. So we're going to go with the Korban. The next Gemara seems to be very similar to halacha of Hilchos Brachos. Yochid can walk throughout the entire house while he's eating, as long as he leaves the main chabura intact, right? Like the halacha by going out in the middle of the suda. So as Korban says, Yochid mamshi b'chol bayis yishas achila. That's be that there's a chabura which remains intact, and then he can walk around, but the chabura must remain in place, and of course he can't leave the house. So it was a very interesting halacha. Okay, the chabura can't move throughout the house. Now, the next part of the Gemara, which is a question on this, is going to learn like the Mechal Amayim and the Yerushalmi Pesachim. And the main question there is from the Sefer there, that it says that we said that they have to turn their faces. That it sounds like even an individual has to turn his face. That was in our Mishnah. It says right? So it sounds like that even individual, if he's going to eat somewhere else, you can't just walk around and eat. He's got to sit somewhere else and turn away from the rest of the chabura. So the one answer is that Lama Elosh time. Our Mishnah says about there are two chaburas, right? It says Shtei chaburas she'ochlus b'bayis echad. So people who are in each chabura have to turn away from each other, and presumably the yachid has to turn away also, right? Because he's not turning away, so then it sounds like when he's walking throughout the house, he's going to to the other chabura. So in that case, enachnami, he's going to have to turn his face. So here we're talking about there's one chabura in the entire house, right? And so therefore, he can walk around, still be shaykh them, he doesn't have to turn his face and eat separately. So I think when I asked what Nina Mecham Be'emtza, now here the question is also from the Sefer, according to Mecham Amayim, it says that the shamish, he can walk throughout the house. When he gets the other chabura, he has to close his mouth and not hold his breath. No, he has to close his mouth and turn his face. Right? And the question is, the implication is only then he has to turn his face and close his mouth and turn his face. But in the rest of the house, he can eat, even though it's two chaburas in the house. By definition, by serving the other chabura, says another chabura. So, by two chaburas, it seems you can eat throughout the house. Only when he's in the actual presence of the second chabura, he has to be part of. Says more. That's different. Makam shamash mochei love shu chaburaso. There, the Mashbiach explains this nicely. He says, Shamish, the specific place at the table, which is now empty. Evidently, I guess that they knew that the Shamish was, since the Shamish, everybody knew that's the Shamish's place. So they needed the waiter. They had to go call him. So therefore, it's not even the two chaburas now. He's still more affiliated with the first, with his chabura, because the Makam Shamish, and therefore, I'm thinking now, as I'm seeing, maybe Malcolm Shamash is even in the, because there's an additional place in the kitchen, so therefore everybody knows which Chabur is affiliated with. In any event, he's because the Shamish people know. It's not so much the makom, but the person, but the makom sounds like has a designated place. Perhaps, and according to Mashgiach, I think it's at the table, but according to the because Mashgiach says place he left open by the table, but according to the place in the kitchen. So, but in any event, everybody knows he's part and parcel of one chabura, and therefore, even if there's two chaburas in the house, he can eat throughout the house, except when he's in the presence of the chabura, where he actually he has to be machzir panav. Wait a minute. How can a kal, if a chazar's panim is a thing? So then, if you have two chaburas in the house, we're talking about two chaburas in our Mishnah. How can the kal turn her face from the place where she's eating? She's turning towards the other chabura. It's like it's why is it any different than the yachid who can't go throughout the house when there are two chaburas in the house? Yachid is not a shamish. So the Gemara says, really Chazar's panim is a chumrah, obviously, and to be married to the kala, we're a maker that in this really it's a chumrah in the other direction, right? To make sure you don't it's in the other chabura. So okay, here in the case where she's mizbayeshes, we let her be master panim in the other direction. There's the whole thing. The maker said she can look in the other direction, and anyway, she would see she's sitting with this chabura. I'm not sure why it's such an issue to begin with, but that's the whole point. In other words, it's not talking about because of busha. There's no halachic issue here of chazar's panim. Even chazar's panim is a chumrah, but this. In the abusha, the matzah open in the other direction, and everybody's going to know it's not part and parcel. It's like a chabura. Okay, Hajla case of solid. Stop here.